is officially colder than shit. Let's get some statistics, some information. Trying to, well, a little warmer than yesterday. Yesterday was 21. Today's 36. But honestly, I can't feel the difference. It's freaking, yeesh. It's rough. That is one thing I am jealous of. Automatic start car. Just leave it in the. You just hit a button from the kitchen and you warm that mofo up. That's the way to do it. But whatever. Throw your jacket on. It's not going to affect the pump. The likes of which today is going to be primarily focused on triceps. So, no skull crushers. Yeah, honestly, I just don't love them, man. I can go pretty heavy, but it just wrenches my elbows. I don't love it. And then if I wait for later in the workout when I'm a bit weaker and I can go lighter, then I just don't get that good of a squeeze. So I guess for me, at least for the time being, they just do not have a place in my training. But you know what does have a place in my training? Behind the head dumbbell overhead extensions, single arm. Love those right now. Crazy stretch in the long head. As well as, I like the single arm pushdowns. Like just grab onto the like the ball of the cable, not even an attachment. Relatively light and really squeeze at the bottom. Like I'm trying to make every rep burn as much as possible for like maybe not a whole second, but for a solid moment. The only problem with those is, unless I can get my hands on two cables at once, then it takes a little bit of extra time doing one arm and then the next. I usually don't have a problem with it, but I mean, sometimes it's just a little bit more tedious. But then again, sometimes I like doing one arm at a time. I feel like it lets me really give each arm some individual attention. It's like rather than just teaching a class, I got a one-on-one session. Any parent would be proud to hear that in their parent-teacher meeting. If, I guess in that scenario, I'm the teacher, my triceps are the kid. I don't know who the parents are. Let's move on from this weird ass fucking analogy. But yeah, 5-6 sets of that, and then once triceps are fully pumped, I mean that's it. I'm just gonna call it. After that, I'll add some forearms into. For now, at least, forearms aren't something which I'm gonna have like dedicated in the routine, but every so often I'll throw them in. They're not too behind compared to everything else. Now, if you are, well, I'll say this: when I was more of a beginner, actually not even from the first, actually for a long time, like 3-ish, almost 4 years of lifting, I would do forearms with arms every arm day. In between every set of biceps, I would do a set of forearm curls and then forearm reverse curls. Now I've been chilling out on them a little, just because they're pretty much fine, but I do want them to be eventually a bit more Lee Priest-esque. Some big ass forearms, they are impressive on their own, I tell you what. And mine aren't small by any degree, but I don't think, or I know, or at least I hope I know that, no. I hope you know that, I mean, I'm never gonna turn down extra size anywhere. That's kind of a given if you've seen more than 3 seconds of one of these videos. But relatively basic. There's a ton of different movements you can do for the bottom side of your forearm, like the part that actually curls stuff like this. But at the end of the day, whether or not you do like a behind the back standing barbell curl, or bent over on a bench with a dumbbell, or if you're holding onto a cable like this, no matter what movement you do, if you really zoom in, all you're doing is going from here to here. So it's kind of fun to change it up. I mean, I'm sure it is a very slightly different stimulus, but with basic muscles, I do not see a problem with training them basically. even with triceps, I have kind of changed my stance because I think they do need to be trained in a normal push down style movement as well as an overhead movement, just to get a really crazy stretch on the long head. But I've had lifts for buys where the only movement I did was just regular alternating dumbbell curls. Oh goodness! And I just stood in front of the rack for the whole workout, and that was it. I moved on. So don't overcomplicate it too much. Just get in there, lift some weights, get a pump, take a picture, go home, eat, and then do it again a few hundred, a few thousand times, and then you might start looking pretty cool. So, nothing else to say. Let's just park this thing and get started. It's 9:36. I don't know. I thought it was going to be empty yesterday, but it was fucking packed. So my predictions have been off lately. So packed or not, still going to get a crazy pump. Yeah, going to have to do one at a time, but don't think of it as taking twice as long. Just think of it as being able to put twice as much focus on one tricep. So start with the weaker side, hold at the bottom, seriously squeeze. I mean, when I'm strong, I want to sit here for a moment. But as I get progressively weaker on the set, I mean, I don't care if I have to do like partials this long just to get a few extra reps out. Okay. Okay. One more. Okay. That's a solid 2 openers. Let's move on to those dumbbell overhead next. Okay. Hey, let's just do one of these. Doesn't really feel like it today. I'm going to change it up with this set. It's been a while since I've done a pre-exhausting set for tries. So basic premise, I'm going to do single arm underhand pushdowns. So, grab the handle, just go like this. I'm not going to do slow reps, but I am going to focus on squeezing. So back and forth, 5 reps on the right arm, 5 on the left, back and forth a couple times. And then get rid of this D handle in exchange for a straight bar, throw the stack on, and burn out that way. So not necessarily something I can explain scientifically. I just get a good burn and I always get a good pump as well. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Okay. Oh yeah. Ooh. Let's do one more exactly like that. Oh my God. Now that is a drop set if I've ever done one. I feel like I've totally done that before, but yo, fuck. I don't know if I want to even do anything else for triceps. I mean, that pretty efficiently fucking obliterated them. Let's do one more. One more just like that, and tries are done. And I've got a new little superset that I didn't remember that I fucking liked. I may get a spot on this one too. So rather than just go to like, let's call it personal failure on my own with the straight bar, I can have somebody pull down on this handle and give me a few extra reps. I did the same thing yesterday with pullovers, like a lat pullover machine. And the set that I did on my own compared to the set where I got assisted partials, almost incomparable. So yeah, I think I'm gonna recruit a fellow lifter to help me. Five more. Oh, that's perfect. Thanks, man. All right, let's go check the pump. Okay. I don't even remember how many sets of triceps that was, but I can say with certainty, this is a brutal fucking tricep pump. I mean, even just standing, doing absolutely nothing, they just burn. Like, my right one especially, more than likely because it was the one that got a little bit more of an intense lift, considering it's like slightly smaller. So all those single arm sets, the right tricep had a little more intensity than the left one. So my logic with that is I want the right one to catch up to the left one, you know? But I think doing like 2 or 3 extra sets for the right tricep, I'm not sure that's the best way to go about it. You know, I'm much more inclined to do the same volume set-wise, but add some single arm stuff or single-sided stuff for other parts of your body, and just do as many reps as you can. You know, it's a failure on the weak side and match reps on the strong side. I find that to be a pretty legit, as well as just logical approach. And if something that you do makes sense to you and you understand why you're doing it, right? You're just going to do it that much better because you'll be able to just, well, understand what you're doing. That's, I guess, just saying it like that, it's kind of self-explanatory enough. It doesn't require any other yapping. But let's see how they fucking look. Boy. Apart from just getting bigger, which obviously is the goal of this bulk, specifically, I do want my triceps to kind of blow up. Like if I could pick one part of my muscle one part of my muscle, one part of my body that I want to just raise the bar on like that. Triceps come to mind. Obviously, I want bigger legs. Everybody could use bigger legs, except for I don't know his name. Freak. Tree trunks, massive neck, black dude, just got his pro card. If you follow bodybuilding, you know the guy I'm talking about. But you're not him. So don't go around skipping leg day. All right. Let's just fucking pose down before this pump wears off. Oh my goodness. I mean, dude, it's fucking... Oh my goodness. They're just swollen. Oh, I love it. Oh, they're almost too... I can't even like really reach around to get a good fucking side tricep because my triceps are running into my lats. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Honestly, with a tricep pump, this is sort of how I want my arms to look. Unpumped, right? I want this to be the level at which my triceps are at just all the time. I mean, just hanging off the bone. Badass. So if you've got a lagging muscle group, you know, maybe that muscle group is going to require a little bit more thought process in your approach. Because if it's lagging, then, I mean, genetics are going to play a role. I'm not going to argue against that. But if it is a lagging body part, then that just means that the training you've been doing to it may just not be sufficient enough. Or it might not be the right kind of sets, or hell, maybe you're just not training intensely enough. But whatever factor is holding you back, you know, you've got to figure out what that is and, you know, somehow work around it. But, oh man. See, now this is nice. Oh, jeez. Yeah, dude, fucking... A front lat spread with a tricep pump is just so much extra. It's just got that freak factor. Because when I have a bicep pump, or even a shoulder pump with a front lat spread, I mean, obviously big shoulders, it is going to kind of give you that illusion of size, but that's just up top. You know, triceps being extra big, it just adds to your roundness, you know? Like, I feel like if my triceps were half the size as they were, and I did a front lat spread, then sure, if my shoulders were the same size or even bigger, it'd be cool up top, but it would be like, it would look like this. Traps, shoulders, triceps fall flat, right? I almost kind of feel like, obviously I'm not a posing coach, but I want my probably upper traps to shoulders, to triceps to elbows, to be nice and round and just kind of have a little bit of flow. Let's just get some forearms going. I could sit here until the pump wears off posing. All right, so when it comes to the back of my forearms, or the top, or, you know, whatever, I'm talking about like this fancy stuff up here. The, you know, let's just say the exercise selections are scarce, but not for lack of diversity, just for the fact that there's not really a lot of ways to hit them. You know, I mean, you could probably sit here with a Home Depot bucket of rice and just do some flexing and extending. You'd probably get a pretty crazy forearm pump that way. Honestly, yeah, I've done that before. You know, I like the weights, so, and also I don't have that, and I'm not gonna go get one. But 20 pounder, relatively light. I mean, don't even do not feel like you're going light even by grabbing the tens if you've never done these. You know, this back part of your forearm, these muscles here, I mean, they're the same muscles that are opening your fingers, right? You're not necessarily evolved to have a ton of strength in this motion. You know, when you're doing the back of your forearm like this, doing forearm curls, I mean, load up as much fucking weight as possible. But when I'm hitting the back of my forearm, really, I'm just going for enough weight to let me do 20 reps or so and get a really crazy burn, and then just repeat that 5 or 6 times. So I'll just show one of these. I mean, 6 in a row would be a bit repetitive, but you know, this is going to be it for the back of the forearms. Right? Sit down on the bench, get comfortable. You are going to be here for a little while. Hang your hand off, just like this. And go till it burns, and then do the next arm. Wait a minute and do it again. So not too complicated. Not even a little. Okay. Okay. For you, let's move on to normal forearm curls. And for me, I gotta sit here for a little while. One thing I feel like I need to mention just about training in general is just because something may be conventionally done or not done doesn't mean that you should just follow that rule or just listen to what somebody else says just because that worked for them. You know, I mean, I see a lot of guys and I always hear comments, well, actually, a little bit less now, like lifting with straps. I feel like that was more of a 2010 earlier thing where people rip on you for using straps. Now it's pretty mainstream. People are starting to catch on. But, you know, I used to hear you don't need to train your forearms directly. You know, you work them by doing back movements, by curling. If you're a total freak and your forearms just happen to be gigantic, then hell yeah, man, badass. But that is not me for sure. I mean, oof. I don't think naturally I have cool forearms. Like they weren't just huge out of nowhere. Like I'd say they're moderately sized now compared to everything else. But the only reason that I think they've even gotten to this level is because I've trained them directly. I haven't been doing it so much recently. I am kind of adding it now. I want them to get a little bit bigger, but for years, forearms got trained directly. You know, so if your forearms are maybe lacking a little bit, and you know it, you know, and you listen to a video of like Dorian Yates or some other complete beast say, you know, I didn't need to train forearms just because they, you know, they grew from all my rowing movements. I don't use straps. Come on, man, get real. Get real. You gotta look at your own fucking situation. And I think you should spam a couple of these cable forearm curls, as I will now demonstrate. Okay. Oh, that's fucking heavy. But yeah, I mean, just like that, you can use one handle at a time, you know, whatever. I'm gonna bust out about 5 or 6 more of these, and then we can go see if my forearms got any more swollen. All right, so they're closing down. We get 1 second of pump check. That's pretty fucking pumped. Let's get out of here. I think that I am sick. I think I'm sick with something. It might just be, well, I mean, nothing crazy. I'm just really stuffy. If I had to blame anything, I think it's the fact that everybody from my school's gym, which, you know, are the people that I interact with the most, and, you know, touching all the equipment and everything else, you know, obviously I'm not going to fucking wash my hands with hand sanitizer in between every set. So I'm kind of getting exposed to a lot of microbials. But, you know, sometimes you got to train your immune system too. But maybe it's just cold. But I feel so fucking stuffy. That's honestly the fucking worst. And I'm already prone to mouth breathing when especially when I sleep, just because, you know, I'm kind of fucking big. I definitely need to look into like mouth tape or whatever. But having a stuffy nose, yikes. I feel like, oh, dude, I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, ugh, gross. Gross. But regardless of physical state, unless I'm like legit, you know, feel like I'm losing touch with reality in terms of sickness, like totally bedridden, yikes. You know, unless I'm in some kind of predicament like that, then you can almost guarantee that the lift is gonna go down. Especially if it's kind of more of a chill lift like today. You know, just triceps and some forearms. The only difficulty, well, I mean, obviously the sets were hard, but in terms of like physical exertion, much more of a mental game today, you know? Like, I don't finish a set of triceps and I'm You know, now sets of squats sometimes, or maybe a crazy set of rows, that might get me going like that, since it's like a kind of closer to a full body movement. But more isolative stuff like this, you really just got to kind of get in and do it. You know. So if I kind of felt moderately sick, uh, maybe I don't feel 100%, maybe only 70. For something like arms or shoulders, I'm almost definitely going to go in. But as I've kind of progressed as a lifter, I have got a little bit, oh my goodness, a little bit more responsible with determining whether or not it's actually going to be good for me to go into the gym or not. You know, if I'm only 70%, then that leg day, well, I'd probably still go in on 70. If I'm 60%, then maybe I'll kind of teeter and consider just saving that leg day for the next day, right? Because if I were to just delay the lift by one day, to delay the whole schedule and split by just one day, and then that lift ends up being twice as good as if I try to just force it when I'm sick, then that's obviously going to be the better case scenario, you know? But that's after doing, I don't know how many lifts I've done where I felt like complete dog, like just fucking upset stomach, headache, nauseous. Obviously not all the time. I'm not super prone to just like general sickness, but whenever I do get it, come on, it's not gonna fucking stop me. But as you lift, or I mean, as you do anything, you should get a little bit smarter about it over time. So I can kind of understand now. Sometimes it is better to take a rest day, but dude, fucking hell, man. It was I'll bring this up sometimes. Back when I was even year one lifter, I got a rack, barbell, and well, no, I didn't even need to get a barbell. My dad already had in the basement a dumbbell set up to 50s, a barbell, and then 300 pounds of plates. So he just had that floating around. I always saw that as a kid when we were kind of just crawling around the crawl space looking around at shit. Maybe that was what planted the seed in my mind to start lifting weights, seeing that as like a 6-year-old kid. But, who cares about the origin? So I say I got it. No, I just asked my dad to buy me like a 200 something dollar, like a $300 weight rack. And as soon as that got implemented into the basement and I kind of organized everything into a way I liked, in high school, this may not have been the smartest move, but it'd be like 2 a.m. and I just put off all my homework. So I had to like finish a bunch of essays or something. I don't even remember. It feels so long ago now. But 2 a.m., still haven't done chest. And I'm just laying in bed, super tired. I gotta wake up in the morning. Ah, jeez. Should I skip it? I teetered back and forth, but I never had a moment like that where I didn't just end up getting up and doing whatever lift I had to do. Damn, that was kind of extra crazy too, because that was before I started doing any kind of pre-workout. Nowadays I am 100% a what's the word I'm trying to think of? An pre-workout advocate. I mean, you're just gonna have better lifts with it, and I'm not saying that you have to be stimmed out of your mind with a shit ton of caffeine either. Just the nitric oxide from citrulline, arginine, and then all sorts of everything else. I haven't really looked into the science of anything of all the other ingredients. I know a ton of guys love getting into that, but you know, you give me one scoop of hostility and then 2 scoops of bloodshot, ideally of the same flavor, but if they're different, who cares? Still both kind of fruity. I can guarantee that I'm going to have a better lift than I would without it. Maybe not in terms of intensity. I mean, you can still push yourself hard without getting, stimulated from caffeine. But I can say with certainty, I'm probably going to get a couple of extra reps and I'm going to get a better pump. My blood vessels are going to be vasodilated, right? I'll have more fluids floating around. the likes of which are going to get sent directly into whatever body part I'm training on that day. And then, I mean, this sounds kind of cool. You got to look this up for yourself. But caffeine will increase your pain tolerance, right? Doesn't that sound fucking badass? So you're going to be able to force out a couple more reps, which otherwise maybe you would kind of call it quits on just due to uncomfortability, because the caffeine will kind of have a uh, slight pain relieving effect. I'm pretty sure that's legit. Look that up, confirm it. But yeah, I mean that just sounds fucking cool, you know. So unless you're prone to jitteriness, or like if you have 200 milligrams of caffeine at like 6 p.m. and then you can't fall asleep until like 3. I know there are people out there like that. I'm not trying to discredit you, right? Just get a stem-free pre, man. You know, maybe stay away from the hostility. Maybe just get a blood shot. Get some kiwi strawberry or some watermelon candy. Oh yeah, the watermelon candy is my favorite. But oh yeah, no. The reason I even brought that up was back when I was a beginner lifter. I followed that same logic as a lot of you guys, a lot of the pre-workout haters. Now the logic is, well, I don't want to be reliant on something to have a good workout. I don't want to rely on having to take pre-workout to have a good lift, you know, because what if I forget it? I mean, yeah, it's definitely an extra expense. So, fuck, that is something to be considered. But if that's not a huge issue, then how often do you use Google Maps? How often do you go on Google to look up anything? Uh, how often do you rely on your car to work every day to get you to where you gotta go? You know, you rely on all sorts of shit, right? So, as far as I can tell, you really are just leaving gains on the table by not doing it. I cannot tell you the last time I forgot to take pre workout. I definitely have, but that was probably way back in the beginning of when I even started doing it. So I don't necessarily see that as as a, well, I mean, if you explain anything well enough, it can be a valid point. But from my perspective, at least, I'm gonna keep taking my pre, and I'm gonna fucking like it. But you know, if you don't want to be caffeine dependent, same logic, then just get the fucking bloodshot, man. Stay away from the caffeine. Even though you are gonna get legit performance benefits from it. But if you want to leave those potential extra reps on the table, then that is up to you. That is up to freaking you. So, fuck, man, what else is there to discuss? Oh, I have a lot of stuff to do tonight. Clothes need to be folded. Probably one, yeah, probably just one episode of The Sopranos worth of clothes to fold. But it just feels so tedious. And then another thing too, more often, yeah, I mean, legit, more often than not, I can almost guarantee that you are lacking vitamin D. You know, I know you're not getting any sunlight right now. Nobody is. So another benefit of vitamin supplementation. You know, I'm not saying you need to go out and have like 10 tubs of this, that, and the other. You know, nattokinase and TUDCA and NAC and all sorts of whatever. Right? If I were to give anybody a recommendation to just start taking some vitamins, right, here's what you go for: men's multivitamin or women's multivitamin for the like one, or I had him look for a little bit. I think like 2% of you who would need that. And then fish oil. Fish oil, that shit is legit. I think you're gonna get legit benefits from overloading your omega-3 intake. Of course, I haven't looked at all the studies or whatever. That's not kind of my deal, but I hear very good things. And then, you know, take it when you wake up, take it when you go to bed. Sometimes with the fish oil, it will give you kind of a funky taste. Just deal with it, man. Just deal with it. Is it going to affect the pump? Yes, in a good way. So a little bit of a sour burp here and there, I don't think it's ever hurt anybody. So plan for the rest of the night. Oh, I've got freaking homework too. I'll try to forget about that. Clothes, food, probably just straighten up my whole room and everything else. My kitchen's not a total mess. I'm gonna try my ass, or I'm gonna try hard to keep it that way. And then once all that's done, I get to go to bed. Tomorrow I have a big commute. I think by the time, oh yeah, no, I know by the time that this video is posted, it will already be over. But I'm headed across country. We're going to LA. We're going to the big city. We're going to the influencer capital of the world. Now, we are going to World's Gym though. That'll be fucking badass. So I think I said this in one of the earlier videos, but if I didn't, then that'll be on the Hostile channel. They're gonna film all sorts of whatever, us running around, doing our business, getting pumps. Badass. I'm sure I'll run into all sorts of dudes too. That'll be kind of fun. And then there's we're doing a little bit of a supplement store meet and greet too. So anybody who's aware of Nutrizone in Bakersfield, maybe perk up. Maybe you gotta perk up. That's gonna be Saturday. Yes, Saturday from noon to freaking 4. There's a cop with his lights on. I'm the only guy in front of him. Let's hope we don't have a freaking problem here. Well, here it comes. Is it coming after me? I don't think I did anything wrong, but if I did, yikes. Let's find out. Let's find our booties out. Oh yeah, in the green. Dude, I get so anxious when police get behind me like that. I know I didn't do anything wrong either. You know, I've only ever been pulled over one time, and I was speeding. I was going 31, or no, not even 31. He said I was going 29 in a 25. It was back in high school. We had open lunch if you were a junior or a senior. So for those 2 periods in the middle of the day, lunch and like a mandatory study hall for everybody else. You could just roll, you could do whatever you want. Go home, just want to eat, whatever. So I was headed to one of my buddy's houses, and I had to pull over in the parking lot next to his house. And he's like, dude, where are you? Like, look outside your window. He gave me a warning, so I don't know. I don't necessarily understand what the point was there. But I guess for whatever reason, that must have just spooked me. Must have just freaking spooked me. Will it affect the pump? Well, maybe. If you're well, I mean, holy shit, yeah. If you're too reckless of a driver and you spill it, holy shit, that will affect the pump. I do not recommend anything even approaching, you know, tree pole or, you know, light pole wrapping, you know, fucking ditch spin outs. Try to keep your wheels on the ground. But apart from that general fucking piece of advice thing, which I think we can all kind of agree with, nothing groundbreaking there. I already laid out what's going to go down tonight for me. I'll see you next time for, I don't know what next time is going to be. This video and either the one ahead of it or the one before it, I don't know. The 3 videos next to this one, I'll have to see how they get posted. They all got filmed on the same day. I kind of had to make all these in advance. But whatever tomorrow ends up being, you know, make sure you get a good lift. Think about your cardio. If you're doing your cardio, then feel good about it. Get an ego boost. Don't stop. Track your macros. Download the stupid simple macro tracker. That is an unpaid plug. It's just what I freaking like. And then other than that, I mean, I got nothing to freaking say. Finals approaching. Don't let it affect the gains. I'll tell you that much. But I will see you next time.